Hello, everyone. We started a couple of seconds before earlier. Um, in today's video, I'm just going to demonstrate how to solve specifically bonus questions in real Excel, cases that can be found in Excel competitions. So this is what um, that I'm just planning for today, right? Okay, so let's get started. Once again, I'm not going to provide all the solutions, but in next upcoming meetups, you will get the full solution of at least four cases, real cases. So that's it. And I'm just going to share my screen, and you should see the file that I'm going to demonstrate my solutions. Before just getting started with our demonstration, I would like to just tell you that the link for sources has been shared in YouTube text box. And also, if you go to, say, our Meetup page, you may see it. Here, you can find, the link also. Right, I'm going to close that one. So now, as you may know, we have 40 minutes to complete each, say, competition, real case solution. So it means that we have to have the necessary information about the solution, I mean, the structure of each real case. So, for example, if you are familiar with the structure, it means that you have to be able to, or just prepare your lambdas for specific kinds of calculation. And of course, during the Excel competitions, you can use your lambdas. So that was the purpose of yesterday's, session where I demonstrate how to build your own lambda custom functions, right? So what we are going to do here, first of all, just take 2 or 3 minutes when you start solve your problem to make you familiar with, the uh, questions or the content of the real case. It will help you, right? And then just be so careful when you read these questions. For example, here it says section one. So this is section one, for example, games number one through 20, for example. So you should understand that, yes, you have to do something related to in this array, right? Okay, so these are important points. Once again, it's a little bit impossible to complete all the solutions in 40 minutes if you are not familiar with the structure of uh, case questions. If you are familiar, it's possible. So let's get started. And once again, for new joiners, I can tell that I'm going to provide the first and last question solutions. I will show the overall approach, how to solve this kind of issue. But once again, in upcoming meetups, I will I will demonstrate all the solutions, including this one. And we're going to provide at least four case solutions demonstration. Okay, so now let's read the question. Here it says that how many letters E are there in the words in section one, games number one through 20. So to solve this issue, Just we know that if we are talking about text strings, of course, it's if it's related to counting, then in this case, we use COUNTIF function. And of course, if there is one, condition, right? So it's very easy. So here I place my cursor and say count if, and I'm going to select my, range. My range should be here in the games part of section one. So this is section one. And let me select this one. And I'm finding the place to including 20 is, no, um, 20 is column. And this is the area that I'm selecting. And comma, between double quotes, I'm saying in, right? Closing parentheses and enter. And this is our, correct answer. If I, yeah, this is our, answer. By the way, this case study has been organized by Andrei Grigolyunovich. He is case author and the owner and founder of Financial Modeling World Cup, located in Estonia, Tallinn, right? Okay, sorry, Latvia, Riga. Okay, so this is our answer. Just imagine we solved this problem in a couple of seconds. Once again, if you are familiar with the structure, it's very easier. Now, for example, let's go with second bonus question, where it says that how many digits, 8, are there in the numbers provided for games 21, 40, cells G 128 to key 147. Remember that 88 counts for 2 digits. So if I can come here, say G 128, and I found myself here. Just pay attention, and this is key. So 149. So I have to find the number of eights. For example, here we have 1 8, 1 8, it makes 2, and here I have 2 8, which makes 4. So I have to find the number of digit 8, right? So, of course, we can solve this problem, but solve it in a couple of seconds. We have to have our structure in our mind. Like, for example, we can say that, so what we can do, for example, we can count or we can find the length of all the, say, digits in that array. And then we can substitute 8 with blank. And in this case, we can also find the number of the length of those strings, and then we can find the subtract, and we can sum up, and thus we can get the necessary answer. So what I'm just going to do, first of all, I'm going to say equal, and I'm going to find the length using length function of this array. So which is here. So let me select, right? And for example, let's select closing parentheses, enter. And it gives me spill error. It's okay. Why? Because it's going to, just spill over. So there is no place. That's the reason. And then I'm going to say that once again, len, right? And here I'm going to use substitute function where I'm once again going to select the array. So I can say G128 column. This time it's going to be key 147, closing parentheses, right? Comma, and actually, sorry, yeah, this is, let's say, comma, and I'm going to provide my old text between double quotes. It's going to be 8, right? And comma. So new text is going to be, instead of 8, it's going to be blank. Closing parenthesis and enter. Once again, I get a spell error here. So if I add some opening parenthesis and here closing parenthesis, comma, plus I'm getting 20. So this is the way that we can, provide or we can use during, the real Excel computations, right? So let's say, and plus I'm getting the necessary answer. Okay, I'm leaving it for now. I will be back a little bit later. So let's go with this one, where it says that which digit from 0 to 9 is used most frequently on the license plates, excluding the example 4, right? So here we have to exclude example 4 and we have to find license. For example, how did I approach to the solution of this problem? For example, I say plate, and I'm just going to find this plate, a license of plate, So it means that we are talking about this part, right? So we don't consider this one, okay? And here, just pay attention, we have very long text strings, right? And so the question was that which digit from 0 to 9 is used most frequently. So we don't consider this one, right? So what we are going to do, let's do it. For example, first of all, I have to provide an array. Let's do it here, okay? Where I'm going to provide the digits from 0 to 9. There are different ways to do it, right? But let me um, just think which way is better, horizontal one or just let's say the tabular one. Okay, doesn't matter. So what I'm just going to do here, I'm saying that equal. Let me use my sequence function. I'm saying that I'm going to use 10, rows. Okay, and comma one column, and it's going to start with 0, and the step is going to be this one, right? Actually I could show the row number 1 and column number 10, but instead what I'm just going to do to say, let's say transpose, right? Sorry, let's say um, transpose, and let's close the parentheses. And plus, I'm getting these values in this case, right? Something like this. So the next step is just to apply one more, say formula like we did it a little bit earlier. So what I'm just going to do, first of all, while I'm here, under 0, I say len, I'm going to find uh, the all characters, I mean symbols count. So it's going to be like this. I can select like this, yeah, and I'm going to fix this one using F4. Okay, so here, for example, I'm getting the number of zeros for each case. And then what I'm just going to do, I'm going to say once again length. And for text, I'm going to use substitute function. And once again, I'm going to select this one, G227, right? And G246. Let me select all of them and say F4. And my new text is going to be this one. Yeah. Let me select this one, 0. And here I'm just going to only, say keep my rows fixed, something like this, right? And comma, and I'm going to provide blank values. It's the same and say, okay, yes. And thus I'm getting these numbers. Okay. Yeah, I think there is a, mistake. It should be something like this. And thus I'm getting the answers. It means that, for example, in this text, the digit 0 has been repeated for 4 times. Okay. Then I can just, drag and drop. So say, yeah. And thus I'm getting this list. And here I'm going to find the, say maximum values for each digits, right? So say max. And here I'm going to say max. And let's select all of them, closing parentheses, enter, and let me select this array, F2, and thus I'm getting these numbers. And once again, maxi, max, so it means that I'm going to say max to find the maximum numbers between them, and thus I'm getting 16. And 16 here is going to be 4. Thus, I come up with idea that the digit number 4 is frequently repeated, right? So I am providing here this, answer, right? Okay, let's go with the last bonus question. Okay, so here it says that in games number 81 to 100, there is only one number that never ever got drawn within the first 16 turns. What's that number? So first of all, we have to find this 81, 90, right? So, and also it says that the first 16, turns. So it's very important to be, being careful in this kind of stuff. So, okay. So, what do we do? Let's do that one. So, first of all, let me come to the necessary part, 81, 100. I have to find this one. For example, here it ends with 80, and here I see this one, 81. These are game numbers, right? And here I have to be careful while selection. So first 16th. So it means G, V. So G281, let's come here. So what I'm just going to do, I'm going to find, first of all, my minimum and maximum numbers. My minimum numbers is going to be, okay, yeah, I hope we selected correctly. So here, right, and let's say F4 and closing parentheses, enter. Thus, I'm finding that it's my minimum value is 1. If I change it to max, it's going to be 19. So then what I'm just going to do, I'm going to make a sequence, right? So what it means, let's say teach this and reps. So let's do something like this. Oh, sorry. Okay. So what I'm just going to do, I'm going to say it's going to be sequence. Row number will be 90. My column number will be 1. Start 1 and step 1. Thus, I'm getting this kind of stuff, right? So it means that from 1 to 19, I have all the digits. And let's find how many times each number has been, repeated. So, okay, if there is 0, it means that that number is my answer. So I'm going to say that count if, right? My range is going to be this one from V to here. Let me fix with F4, say comma, and I'm going to select this cell and say closing parentheses, enter. And if I double click it here, I will see, all the necessary answers, right? So I'm going to apply here, Control Shift L, and let me filter 0, right? So I find that 66 is the number that has not been repeated in the first 16, terms in this array. Okay. So this is the way we demonstrate the solution. So let me type this here. Okay, now let's talk a little bit about our last bonus question. Here it says that how many sand cells are there on a bare island. We have our map. The main stuff is here, to find the number of cells where we can find this color. If I select any of them and come to font group, and from here I say more colors, and I can find the hex number and also RGB, red, green, blue, right? So this is, our number. Actually, there is no direct function to find this kind of stuff. So it's always better to build your own lambda function. But I found one way how to solve this kind of, problem. I'm going to share my other screen where you can find the solution. So this is the way that I found. Just believe me, everything should be in mirror format. For example, here I have this one where I have built my named formula like get color. And here also I have my other get color. So what I did, so I will explain a little bit later. So let's go to formulas. And here I have, first of all, built my named formula like, this one. And here, when I built that version, I said get dot cell. So this is a function or Excel feature that can be used in building named formulas. And for that color that we, paste it here. So this is the way that, of course, when I solved that problem, I used AI tools, but there should be, some other ways to find the color number. So this is, in this case, is 63 or 36. You have to try both of them and comma, and then I'm selecting the cell number where I'm going to apply my, say, new function, named formula function, right? So in this case, for example, A1, right? And of course, as soon as I apply this get color named function, I get this kind of numbers. For example, 55, 60, 36, 50, 2, 1. So this kind of stuff, right? 0. So these are these colors. Actually, I solved this problem once again, but however, should be a very clear way how the best way how to find the color number. So I'm in the process of finding this solution, and as soon as I apply these, named formula, so I get these answers and I convert it into, a table, and I call it send. And if I come here, I say count if, I'm selecting this one and say 36. So 36 is the number uh, of this color. So how it's calculated, in some way it says that, for example, if we come here, here we have our RGB. So, for example, for red, 25, 55, for green, this number, so on and so forth. So we multiply with specific numbers just to find this 36 or 55. But actually, this is not the best way. Anyway, that was the way that I followed to solve this issue. Once again, in upcoming session, I'm going to provide the best way how to solve this kind of stuff. And also I will present how, to solve other section questions. That was all from my side for today. I'm going to stop sharing, and I kindly ask you to subscribe to my YouTube channel and also to Meetup group where you can find this kind of case solutions related videos. So thank you once again, and see you in upcoming, videos. Thank you.